Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, as you can see, this is an AI portrait of the great and legendary golfer, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods started out as a golfer with so much promise. The world had never seen anything like him before. He was the darling of the golf circuit. And Black Americans were very proud of him because his father was black. And he's got this black child. And so everybody was proud of him. But something went wrong. We did not know what was going on behind the scenes. And because he came out so early, playing golf so well, that we did not really understand then, even now, how much jealousy can be imposed upon a young child because he's better at something than somebody else. And Tiger Woods was the recipient of that jealousy and hatred. And sadly, he blamed his blackness instead of the people's jealousy and hatred. And he has lived his life, it appears, hating his blackness. Take a look at these videos.
Do you ever feel under any kind of pressure or any kind of prejudice? I mean, golf's quite often seen as an upper class white game. Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel that at all?
Every time I go to a major country club, always feel it. You can always sense it. People are always staring at you. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. When I go to Texas or Florida, you always feel it because they're saying, "Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here." And that's probably because that's where all the slavery was. So, oh well.
So do you feel in some ways that you can help change that if you became
Yes.
if you became like the next Jack Nicklaus type figure or the next Tom Watson, that maybe that would re-educate people?
Since I'm black, it might be even bigger than Jack Nicklaus. I might be even bigger than him. I may be sort of like a Michael Jordan in basketball, or something like that.
Okay, and again, if you have one ambition, say one tournament to win, what would it be? What's the tournament that really captures your imagination?
The Masters.
Why is that?
The way the blacks have been treated there, they shouldn't be there. And if I win that tournament, it'll be really big for us.
Okay, well, good luck anyway, Tyler.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Good, mate.
Playing at some of these golf courses, I was not allowed in the clubhouses where all the other juniors were. The color of my skin dictated that. As I got older, that drove me even more. So as I was denied access into the clubhouses, that's fine. I put my shoes on here in the parking lot. I asked 2 questions only. That was it. Where was the first tee? And what was the course record? Not complicated.
So in the first video, he's 14 years old. He is clear that he is black. He wasn't calling himself a Caucasian. He knew about slavery. He says when he went to those clubhouses, they looked at him like they can do, staring at him as if to say, "What are you doing here?" So he was very clear about who he was and why he was facing the discrimination that he was facing. He even said that he might be as good as Michael Jordan. So he identified with a black athlete. When the interviewer questioned him about winning the Masters, he said if he won, that would be a big deal for us. He knew what he was, who he was, and he was determined that he was going to outdo everybody that played on those golf courses. And even as a grown man, he acknowledged it was because of the color of his skin. And so then he decided he was going to beat everybody, which he did. All he wanted to know was, where's the first tee and what is the course's record? Because he was going to break everything. And he did that. But in the end, they broke him. He went from being number one in golf to number 1,274. They pulled every trick in the book to make it difficult for him to win at golf and at life. Tiger Woods had all of these endorsements. He made so much money those first few years, and he was beating everybody that he came across. But I feel like he made a mistake in that if he had embraced his blackness and focused on being the best golfer that he could be, it's a very good chance that he would still be surviving as the best golfer that ever lived if he had not gotten tied up those white women. Now that's what Dr. Umar Johnson says. And I believe it's true. The quickest way to break a black man is with women, drugs, alcohol, and gambling. That particular white woman was set up for Tiger Woods. Those white men did not want him ruling golf. And they knew, I'm sure they tried other strategies, but when they gave him this white blonde-haired woman who was nothing but a babysitter, that was the beginning of the end for Tiger Woods. You could argue the point, but I'm saying that's what it was, and that's what Dr. Umar Johnson says too. Even after all of that, knowing what the situation was, knowing why the people felt by him as they did, he has still chosen to live his life with white women. So Tiger Woods started out with something to prove. He was going to prove that he was better than all of the golfers that played on those courses. And he proved that. But what have they proved to him? First of all, they proved to him that he might be the best golfer in the world for the moment, but that they were going to do everything they could to make sure that he ultimately failed. So what did they do? When he started beating all of those white golfers, they said they would go back and change the dimensions of the golf courses to make it harder for him. And what he said at the time was, well, if they make it harder for me, they're going to make it harder for everybody else too. They did the same thing with Simone Biles. One of those Russian Federation of Gymnastics or something like that, said they needed to change the rules for the gymnasts because Simone Biles was beating everybody. So once you learn how to play the game, they changed the rules. So that hasn't changed. But Tiger Woods was trying to be good enough. And there are many black Americans who do that. They have to prove that they're good enough. That is so destructive to black people. And now he has his children coming on. He has made it with another race of woman, a white woman. He has some biracial children. And if they mate with white people and continue to mating, they will become white, identified. But that problem is still going to be in that family. It will show itself in another dimension, but that fear of not being good enough is going to be in that family. It's not going to escape his descendants because he ran away from his blackness. They might not be running away from blackness, but there's going to be something in them that they're not going to feel like they're good enough. You have to face this and you have to overcome it. And he has not had any success with those white women. And the last one, he wasn't even married to her, just letting her live in his house. And when he kicked her out, she sued him for $30 million. And the judge threw that case out. She has filed another case against him. She is still trying to get money out of this black man, even though he doesn't owe her anything. So that's the problem of trying to prove you're good enough. You cannot prove a negative If somebody says you're not something, you cannot then come back and prove to them that you are. Because people believe what they want to believe. And if they believe they're better than black people, you can go out there, you can be smarter than they are, you can make more money than they make, you can run faster than they run, you can play golf better, you can do gymnastics better, you can play basketball better, you can be more beautiful, the world can love you more, but they still believe they're better than you. Because that's embedded in them. And one thing that we need to do going into 2024 is stop believing that lie. Ever since I can remember, black people have been telling their children, you've got to learn how to get along with white people. You've got to do this. You can't do that. You need to do this. You don't need to do that. You've got to learn how to get along with white people. And we are the only people, I believe, who get that message. It's always the talk with black people trying to indoctrinate something into their children relative to getting along with white people. And we know where this comes from. But it's going to continue if we don't take a stand. We are never going to be able to prove to white people, let's just shuck it down to a cob. We won't be able to prove that we're good enough. Because if we are good enough, then where does that leave them? Nobody seems to be teaching white children that they got to get along with anybody. I believe that black children have heard that enough. White people are not teaching their children that they have to learn how to get along with anybody. And it is time for us to stop teaching our children that. We are teaching our children to be the best human beings that they can be and to treat people like you want to be treated. And that's enough. And that applies to all people, not just white people. But this whole idea about teaching them that they got to learn how to get along with white people, that needs to stop. And if you've already stopped doing that, good for you. But that needs to be in the general atmosphere of black people. You need to be the best you can be in your classroom, in your daily walk with other people. You need to be the best that you can be. And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that goes for everybody, not just white people. I saw this on my Twitter platform with Tiger Woods. And you sort of feel sorry for a person like that. Because he had a black father who was apparently self-hating. I'm going to say he was self-hating. And then he had an Asian mother who probably did the best she could. But she had a child that looked black. So there wasn't that much she could do. He seems to not have overcome his self-hatred. And the interesting thing was that as a 14-year-old, he seemed to be proud that he might be able to break that record. And that would be good for us. I just wonder what went wrong. Who got to him and convinced him that he didn't need to identify as black. Just like they say they told The Rock in Hollywood, don't identify as black. And so still trying to be good enough and not having any success at it. But I say it's time for us to stop. We are good enough. We have proven over and over and over again that not only are we good enough, but better than some people when it comes to behavior. We need to let that expire. That whole idea of learning how to get along with white people so you can be good enough. We need to let that expire. That time is over. And it's time for us to step into our own greatness. Okay, y'all. Let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.